Hi, all. Welcome back to the Fangirl Fantasy Podcast. I am Julie Russell, and we have one of my friends on the episode today, Lauren Azevedo. Hello.
Hi, I'm
How
excited to
are
be here.
you? I'm so happy to see your face right now.
Me too. Well, not my face, your face.
I haven't seen you since February of like last year.
The last time I saw you was at one of your fangirl events.
I know you had such a night that night. Remember, you lost your ID?
I'd rather not talk about it because I found it in my back pocket. And I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was
how, I don't know if I want the world to know that.
yeah, that was a stressful situation. But
I
yes,
literally was like, I ended up getting in because I found an old email that I had taken a picture of my license. And like, that's how I got in. And I ended up literally finding my stuff in my back pocket. I was like, this was not my finest hour.
It's so funny. Yeah, so you
Oh,
came
such a fun
to
night.
the Fangirl Fantasy event in Brooklyn in New York last February, which is like the one last like fun event before like COVID
One of
hit.
the last fun things I did for sure.
So you are a Boston native, but you currently live in New York City, but you're home right now, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So I am from Boston and then I moved to New York in September of 2017. I moved for an internship and then I ended up getting hired at my internship and ended up being there full time for like 3 years. And but then when COVID hit, I came home expecting to be here for like 2 weeks and now a year and a couple
Some
months.
change.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So your internship was with Red Light Management.
Mhm.
What was your internship title? What was your department that you were in?
I interned for the president of Red Light Management's assistant. I interned for like his little department. And I just kind of helped with whatever was going on day to day. I did like weekly client reports and things of that nature. And then I was just kind of like, I would always try to be like the first person to volunteer for anything. Like I made sure that like if anyone needed help with anything, that I would be like the first person there to help. And I tried to familiarize myself with everyone in the office, even though I was like
Hmm.
working under a specific group. Like I wanted to help everyone, so that like by the end of my internship, like everyone knew who I was.
Of course.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it worked out because the president of my company, his assistant, decided to leave towards the end of my internship, and he looked across at me at the little intern desk, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to like stay?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I would be unemployed after this, so I would definitely love to stay.
So
And
you are the assistant for the president of Red Light?
mhm.
Why didn't I even know this? Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm his assistant, and I've since added roles, but it's like I'm still his assistant, but
You
I'm now the
picked up
intern
some stuff.
coordinator of our New York office, and I do day-to-day management on a few clients, and I just keep adding hats. So
That's amazing. So you know like all the deep dark secrets of like everything that goes on at your company.
I know some secrets.
When you started jumping into like interning and wanting to get into the management side of the company, is this kind of where you pictured yourself, or are you still looking to transition in any way?
um, well, first I'll say that like when I was looking for an internship, I had a heck of a time. I
Hmm.
had a really tough go at it because I needed an internship to graduate. I've studied music business, and I felt like when I was my original plan was to do a summer internship. So I was applying like in the spring, and I just like wasn't happy with what I was getting back for the summer because summer's so competitive,
Hmm.
and I also just didn't feel super prepared for the process, I guess. And so I was like, you know what? This is an internship, I think is a really good opportunity for me to meet people and like, maybe eventually find a job.
Hmm.
So I was like, I'm going to defer until the fall and try again. And I feel like I was way more prepared. I was like super on top of applying early, and like I ended up getting way more interviews and just way more responses from people. So that I had like more options. And ultimately, I decided to go to Red Light because I just felt like, with management, I can kind of get a view of a lot of different areas of the industry because they kind of have their hand in everything the artist does, you know? Because I didn't know like exactly what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to work in music and I thought management was a good place to be. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't think that I necessarily pictured this as my life 3 years later. I don't know what I had in mind, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think I'm done. I'd like to definitely continue growing in my career and transitioning out of. I hope to eventually like transition out of like you know administrative stuff and solely
Mm-hmm.
focus on working with artists and being just a manager would be cool. I think would be probably my goal. Um, yeah, I'd like to eventually just be able to work
I
with the
think
artist.
it, I think what it's really cool is though that you get that other side of it and knowing all the and like the business side of it, I'm sure, and then like the admin side that a lot of these managers and assistants like didn't get to see first. So I feel like you kind of are a little bit of a step of ahead just on those little tasks that you don't even think about that you need to know how to do or when something comes up. So I feel like you're getting kind of like the best of both worlds right now. And I would think you're in a great position for when you do want to like just take that leap and be a full-time manager. So I think it's really cool that you get to like kind of see how some things are run. And do you work like a lot, like as well as like with the president, do you work directly with some like managers?
Yeah, so well, he is a manager. So he's the president of our company and he also manages some really heavy duty clients. And I've, been able to help him with a lot of that stuff, which is really cool. Like I've gotten to be more involved with his artist teams and
Mm-hmm.
helping directly with some clients. And then on the other side of that, I also do some day-to-day management for some developing acts,
Okay.
which is really just something I love. Like I like, I really like getting to be involved in that aspect. And um, I think that's probably my favorite part of the job is working directly with clients and like being their go-to person to help with everything and helping them with scheduling and new music and releases and just, whatever it is. Like I really enjoy that aspect. So
What has been like the most shocking thing that you've like learned since you started about how whether the industry works, how like management side of it works, or has there been anything that like you thought about this is how it happens, and then now that you're in it, you're like, wow, I had that kind of like slip my mind. I never knew that was actually how this went about.
it's a good question. It's like one of those things that I'm like on the spot. I'm like, I don't know. And then like on another day, I'll be like, oh, this, and that. Um, I don't know that I realized like how, you know, much of a management team it is. Like that,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily like just a manager. There's like other people who are helping in those roles. And I don't know that I totally knew that before going in. I'm trying to think of something else that came as a surprise. I mean, probably so much.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
hard to think about on the spot.
yeah, probably so much. I mean, managers are just really involved with
Everything.
everything. I mean, I guess like there's a certain aspect of being an assistant and being a manager where you almost just feel like you're a babysitter. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? That's kind of a
As
surprising aspect.
as a current day-to-day manager, yes.
Yeah. And I don't, not to, I hope that doesn't sound insulting to
No, no,
anyone.
no. It is. It's you're making sure X, Y, and Z is happening
Yeah,
24/7. And there's like days
exactly.
that I have to make sure like for me, like that I have to make sure like, hey, you ate, right? Like you're doing
Yeah,
this,
right, right.
or like, hey, don't forget a doctor's appointment or this. And I'm like, did I even eat? And did I even take care of that for myself? Like
No.
there's some
They're like,
like
you did
I
not.
haven't I think I missed my doctor's appointment last week, but I'm making sure you're at yours.
Yeah, like you have to make sure that like, they're on time and that
Hmm.
they're just taking care of themselves, that things are getting done, like you're following up on things all the time.
Hmm.
And on the other side of that, you're also following up with like, for being a manager, you're following up with like everyone else on their team
Their
all the
agents,
time,
their
making sure that things
brands,
are
the
getting done.
labels, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you really, like I said earlier, like management like really has their hand in everything.
Definitely. So I know how you got involved into this and like your reason behind, pursuing the music and entertainment industry. Well, one of the main focals, I believe, is Justin Bieber.
Mm.
You were a day one believer, and I
Day
feel like
one.
a lot of people might know you for one specific reason. And I think it's freaking awesome. And when I like realized that it was you who did it, like after we became friends, I'm like, that is the coolest situation and story ever. So I'm gonna let you tell them this story.
Oh boy. Okay. So when I was, I think 15 years old, me and my friend Annalise were just like, we loved Justin Bieber. I feel like Justin Bieber was just such a solid, like it solidified our friendship. Like
Yes.
I feel like discovered Justin Bieber at the same time, around the time that me and her were becoming better friends, and like became just so close because of it. We were just, we would be hanging out all the time and always be like, Justin, 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 like just everything. I probably discovered him when I was like 14, but this story started when I was 15. So we loved Justin. It was like just our number one thing, like the thing that we talked about constantly. And one day I was sleeping over her house, and I think we had just come back from, funnily enough, if I'm remembering correctly, I think we had just come back from seeing the last song in theater. I think that's what we had done earlier that night. But I was sleeping over at her house, and we like weren't tired at all. And we were like, what should we do? Like, we just were like, I'm kind of bored, like, but I'm not tired. Like, I don't want to go to sleep. Like, probably had watched every single Justin Bieber video on the internet by that point anyway. And both of us just kind of looked at each other and we were like, we should write a song. And
And for people who don't know, you can sing actually too.
I can. That's another aspect as to why I joined this industry, was because I've been singing since before I could walk. But yeah, we were like, we should write a song. Like, I don't know why we thought that was the cool thing to do at like midnight, but we had been talking about Justin Bieber's then guitarist, Dan Cantor, because I think recently, like, Justin had been tweeting about Dan a lot, and we were like, he seems so cool. Like, he seems like a cool guy. And then when it came time to write a song, we were like, what should we write a song about? And we were like, let's write a song about Dan Cantor. And we just like did that. We just wrote this little tune about Dan Cantor, and we were so like overtired by the time we recorded it and like put it on YouTube. And we like didn't ever think anything would come of it. We didn't even tweet it. We didn't like post it anywhere. We were just like, oh, like we put it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube and let's see what happens.
Yeah, like, and we didn't have like any makeup on. We were just like exhausted. By the time we finished, it was probably like 3 a.m. because we did like a million takes. And then like 2 days after we posted it, Dan tweeted us and was like, I love the song, you guys, whatever. And we were like, oh my God, like he saw it. Anyway, so fast forward months later, like, we didn't think anything was going to come of that moment. And then all of a sudden, like Dan tweeted us again, was like, hey, did you see DJ Tay James's new video? And I was like, oh, like, what is this? Like, I thought it was going to be some other person writing another song or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out to be Justin singing our song. And we were like, oh my God. And he was like in Hawaii or something. And basically that became an ongoing thing. He started singing it at every single one of his sound checks. And at that time, Justin was doing like sound check parties where people would pay to like go to the sound checks. And he just sang that song everywhere. And it became
so
just like, it just became famous among Justin Bieber fans. Like everyone knew that song. If you liked Justin Bieber, like you knew that song.
Mm-hmm.
And he sang it in like just other countries. Like people like in Japan were singing the song. There was a moment where Shaquille O'Neal was singing the song, like on like Good Morning America. Just like crazy stuff was happening. And then when they were coming to Boston for Justin's tour, Dan hit us up like the night before and was like, hey, can you like meet me outside the venue at whatever time? And we were like, oh my God, yeah. And
freaking out.
Yeah, freaking out. I remember like I like could not eat. Like I was like sick I was so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And we met him outside, met him at the venue, and he was like, "Oh, it's so great to meet you, whatever." And he was like, "So I have a couple things for you." And he was like, "All right, here's tickets to sound check, like here's meet and greet passes, and here's front row tickets to tonight's show." And we were like, like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And like Annalise and I like didn't really know what was gonna happen. Like we kind of thought like they were just gonna come and like not acknowledge us. And we were like a little bit nervous about the whole thing. And we had made t-shirts, like just like we were like
saying like who you were.
we made t-shirts like with the lyrics because one of the backup dancers had made a t-shirt with the lyrics. So we made t-shirts to match him. And it was mostly we just wanted to like, you know, hopefully call attention.
Yeah, of
because we didn't
course.
think that they had anything, that they were going to do anything. And then we get to sound check, dance on stage or whatever. And then Justin comes up and he's doing his thing, whatever. And then all of a sudden he looks over to Dan and he goes, "Dan, I think we have some special guests here tonight." And he goes,
I'm so like, I know this is so long ago, but I'm like,
I know,
oh
it's
my
crazy.
God.
And he was like, "I think we have some special guests tonight." And he goes, "Who wrote the Dan Canner song?" And like a couple girls were like, "Lauren and Annalise." And me and Annalise were like, "We did." And he was like, you two wrote the Dan Canner song." And we were like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, I think you need to get up here and sing it with me." And he invited us to go on stage and sing the song with him. And that's what we did. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, we ended up on stage with Justin and we sang that little jingle over and over and over again, which, by the way, which a lot of people don't know this, there is a rap part that fortunately is not on the internet anywhere
That's
anymore.
funny.
So people just think we wrote this like 3-line jingle, but there was more to it. But I'm grateful that the other part isn't there anymore.
After this whole date, like, you know, you got your meet and greet, your front row tickets and sound, which is awesome and so incredible. And I love that
And then
they
they
did
gave us a
that.
shout out at the actual concert too.
That's
They like
crazy.
taught the entire arena at TD Garden. They taught the arena the song and like they put us on the Jumbotron like while they were
That's like a fever dream.
Yeah, it was nuts. And then just totally nuts, just crazy. And Dan is like the nicest human being in the world. Like he's so great. Justin like was so sweet to us. We've met him 3 times. Like so kind to us. Like just at that time he was 16 years old. And you know, he was just like any other
16-year-old boy.
Like just a 16-year-old boy. And the song ended up being in the special features of the first movie, and then it was actually in the second movie. So we got to see our names in the credits, and that was a really surreal moment. Is like when they were going through the credits with all the music, and it was like written by Justin Bieber, written by this famous person, written by this famous person. And then it was like our names, like just so crazy.
That's so awesome. So those other 2 meet and greets, the times you met him, did they also give you guys tickets for those?
Yeah, Dan gave us tickets for those, yeah.
Which is awesome. So have you kept a relationship with him at all throughout these years and like, you know, kind of been like, hey, like I now work in the industry because, you know, like,
yeah,
obviously not completely because of that, but, you know, because of, you know, you being a fan of music and Justin Bieber, have you like continued a relationship?
Yeah, I mean, we don't talk every day or anything.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, no, of course.
For sure. I mean, he follows me on like Instagram and stuff, and we've kept, you know, in contact. And I remember when I was applying for internships, I actually like did hit him up, and he was so cool and nice, and like was just the sweetest dude. And then when I got the internship at Red Light, he's actually a big fan of some of the bands on our roster, so he knows a lot of people at my company. And he was like so stoked. He was like, "What? Like you're working at Red Light? Like that's so sick." He's like a huge Fish head. Like he loves the band Fish, and we manage Fish. So he was like stoked. Oh my God.
He's gonna hit you up for ticket. He's gonna now hit you up for tickets for the next show.
I don't think he needs me, but
no.
And then we had a full circle moment where my company also manages the Dave Matthews Band, and I was in like I went to their show and they played at Madison Square Garden a couple years ago, and I was like in the VIP whatever because it was our band, and he ended up being there.
No way.
Yeah, we ended up like running into each other at this like we both had our little like stickers, and you know, and it was really crazy. Like it was just this like full circle moment of like, I didn't need you to get this long. I came
Yeah,
back figuring out
definitely.
on my own. And, we had a really nice little catch up, and he was just telling me about, and his wife was there too. And she's like the sweetest person. She's so nice. And, he was just telling me, it was like literally every single artist I work with, like the first question they ask me is like, what's up with this song? Like,
Oh
it's like,
my
what's
God,
up
that's
with
so funny.
everyone? And like, I don't know. It's like, I remember one time he was, I think, playing for Haley Steinfeld maybe, and she was opening for Niall Horan, I think was what the tour was. And somebody had brought a sign to the show that said like Dan Canner or whatever. And I messaged him, like replied to his story about it. And he was like, Niall sings this song to me every single day. I was like,
What? That's
dropped
that's
it.
like so crazy. That's so awesome. I love that.
So nuts. It's just crazy because it's like something that I did when I was so young, and like it feels so far away from me now. Like the song I
Mm-hmm.
feel like took on a life of its own. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just so crazy that somehow 10 years later it's like
It's
still
still
following.
it's still relevant and following you
Yeah.
around.
Justin and Haley like were singing it on an Instagram live like 2 years ago. I'm like, what is happening right
Doesn't that
now?
just isn't that kind of crazy too? Because like in the back of their mind, they're thinking like about kind of thinking about you because you were the one that wrote it.
I mean, maybe. It's
A
like
little bit, I think so.
it feels so distant. It's like it's just so crazy. I mean, just wild.
Is Justin or was there anybody else that really kind of pursue like would helped you pursue the music and entertainment industry? Like, do you think this is kind of what kickstarted it, or was there any
Um,
other significant moment?
I mean, I think that like I always wanted to be involved in music because I'm a singer. And I think that that moment just in general like just taught me that like I can do anything. Like I can do anything I set my mind to. I don't it was such an out of this world once in a lifetime experience that it's like it made me believe that I could like really pursue my dreams and not hold back from that. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like there were a lot of people around at that time who sort of was like, oh, like they're never going to acknowledge you. Like, don't get your hopes up. Like, oh, like whatever. And then that happened. Like, we ended up on stage with him, and it was just this big, crazy moment. And it was like, like I don't need these naysayers. Like,
Hmm.
I can do anything I set my mind to. And I think it just motivated me to,
Especially too, like you were a fan, kind of that's a whole marketing song for Dan. As a fan, you did that, and like as a fan, you created like a life of its own for another art, like for a superstar, an artist for Justin Bieber, and then they got to use that in a song, like and in their movie, excuse me, and then like they're playing it and performing it as content on tour and like you did that. A fan brought that to the table for them, which I just think is so awesome.
yeah. And so many people like didn't know that a fan wrote it for
Hmm.
so long. It was just kind of like, I don't know, the internet wasn't as
Big, yeah. It was kind of
big.
like like I feel like the fans were on Twitter and like on YouTube, but like not like it wasn't
Yeah.
like mm, everybody yet, especially
Yeah.
in that time period.
Yeah. It was crazy. And I just think, meeting the people that I met, having that experience, like definitely, I think solidified, wanting to pursue this industry and helped lead me along this path for sure.
Do you have any advice for any fans listening that are trying to pursue the entertainment industry right now?
Yeah, I have just advice for, anyone, I guess any fangirls, whether they want to pursue the industry or not, but particularly to those who do. In the industry, I think there can be a lot of people who can be judgmental about the type of music that you like, about, you know, who you are, especially to young women. And I feel like the word fangirl can be seen as like a negative. And like that's why I love what you're doing so much, because I feel like you're flipping that around and making it something positive. Um, I would say like don't have guilty pleasures. Be proud of what you love. Like, there's no reason to feel guilty about the things that you like. Don't let anybody discourage you or dull your passion. Like, it's that passion that is going to motivate you and drive you to like do amazing things and lead you in this industry. So don't let anybody make you feel badly about the things that you love and the things that you want to pursue. I mean, just we want to get rid of that like negative connotation, and people can be so, I think, harsh towards young girls and sort of make it feel like the music that they like
it's not worthy. Like, yeah, the music isn't
that
as good
is
as the
just,
other music. It doesn't make any sense to me.
just because teenage girls like it, that it's not worthy of real attention or real praise or whatever. Like, it's teenage girls have always been the tastemakers in this industry, always. And it's like, I don't know why we have to continue to belittle that. And so what I would say to all of the young ladies watching, like, don't let anybody discourage you. Like, you're awesome and do what you want. Like, love Harry Styles, love Justin Bieber, One Direction, Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, like whatever. Like, don't let
Jonas Brothers.
The Jonas Brothers, yes. Don't let anybody put you in a box and make you feel badly about that.
Definitely 100. I agree with all of that. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me that just because we enjoy it, because we're the ones that camp like the ones that camp out, cool. We're the ones that buying the tickets. We're the ones making these artists successful. And it just doesn't make any sense to me that people look down on it. It's crazy to me.
It's so crazy. Like, it's like when an artist who's normally deemed as like somebody who has that type of fan base, like a teenage girl fan base, when they put out a project that suddenly taps into a new audience that is like more respected or whatever,
mainstream.
Like it becomes like suddenly it taps into these men like it now, whatever. And it's always like, oh, I actually really like Ariana Grande's new album, or I actually really like Justin Bieber's new album or whatever. And it's like, you can just say it with your whole chest. Like, you don't have to put the actually there. Like, nobody's taking
definitely
away. Like, just say it. Like, it's okay that you like the same thing as your 16-year-old's cousin or whatever. Like, it's cool. Like, it's fine.
No, for sure. What are your top 3 concerts you're looking forward to, like, when we're back in full force?
Well, I have tickets to Harry Styles at Madison Square Garden on Halloween.
Yes.
I've been waiting for. That's, I think, like the only concert that I had, like, I don't buy a lot of tickets in advance anymore, but I had bought tickets to that one. So I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully eventually seeing him. I love Justin Bieber's new album.
Me too. I love it.
It's so good. And I'm like, it's so nice to see him in a healthy
healthy thriving right now. He's thriving. He's living his best life, and I love it so much.
Vocally the best he's ever sounded, and I just think he's
happy.
Yeah, it's nice to see him in a better headspace, and I hope he tours the album because I really want to see it. I love seeing Ariana Grande. I also would love to see the 1975 tour again. I was looking forward to hopefully going to one of their shows when the world shut down. I was supposed to see them at Bonnaroo, and then it didn't happen. And I was gonna try to see them at another show, but yeah. I mean, I'm any concert.
Yeah, we're just honestly, you could literally shove me at a concert that like I've never heard of, an artist don't know a single song. I'll be living my best life. I'll be so happy to be there.
Any concert, but yeah, hopefully eventually we'll see Harry Styles on Halloween.
Yes, that's a big one, and I'm sure I'll see you at many counters because we always run into each other at those kind of joints.
For sure, yes.
But I thank you for coming on. I love your Justin Bieber story. I love that it's 1 in a million, and you got to live your fangirl dream, honestly.
Yeah.
Many believers' dreams.
Yeah, just out of this world for how much me and Annalise, adored him, and for that to happen was just crazy. People were really nice to me at school after that for like a couple of weeks.
You were the most popular girl in school, I'm sure.
Yeah. People who had like never spoken to me were like, hey, because they put us on the news like 3 times, like the
Oh,
local news.
wow.
We were like, they did like 3 interviews with us. So like everyone
New.
knew in my town.
That's funny. Well,
Wild.
I really appreciate you coming on and telling your story, and I'm excited to see where you end up in the next couple months, year. You're in a great position and you're in a position to succeed. So I'm excited to watch that happen.
Thank you. I hope so. And I'm excited to continue watching your journey on Instagram and your wildlife.
It's never boring, that's for sure. I'm very lucky in that
It doesn't
aspect.
look it.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the Fangirl Fantasy Podcast. I will talk to you all next week.